Okay, so we're going to begin this journey at your global population baseline sheet, Excel sheet. So that might be fertility, that might be life expectancy, that might be mortality, whatever your population baseline you chose was. For me, it was just total population over time. So first you need to copy this graph, Command C, and then paste it. And now we want to just drag this graph out of the way to the bottom of the chart. Whew, okay. Alright, the next thing we want to do is right click, 2 fingers, add trend line, and for this first time we're going to add a linear trend line, so that's already automatically selected. Now we want to go to options, display equation on chart, display our squared value, and we also this time want to forecast for 100 years into the future. So as you can see, that kind of made our graph look weird. They have the years starting at 0 and continuing on. Well, that doesn't make sense to have the year start in 0 and it starts in 1700, so I'm going to right click on the x-axis there and go to Format Axis. And this is just good to know in case you need to ever change something on your x-axis. And we want to start in 1700, so I'm going to change the minimum value to 1700. And then it automatically adjusts the rest of the stuff for me. Okay, so that looks better. It looks like it did before. Now, another thing I want to change is this. It has negative numbers there, and then, you know, the E that we've seen a lot of. So I'm going to right-click on the y-axis now and go to Format Axis. I'm going to change the minimum to 0. And then here, display units. Since I know that population is in billions now, I'm just going to change it to billions because that will make more sense. Now this is a lot more reasonable. It starts at 0, 1, 2, 3. That way most people can read it now. They see a 1, they know it's 1 billion. 2 is 2 billion. Okay? So now we're ready for the next step. We want to do some forecasting. So first thing we need is the years. This part's pretty simple. First thing you want to do is go to the top of your spreadsheet, look at the years up here, and see when your data from Gapminder ends. This ends in 2013. Even though we haven't even actually hit 2013 yet, I'm just going to go ahead and start at 2014 since my data ends at 2013. So I'm going to type 2014 and then 2015. So I'm going to type the first 2 years after my data ends. Then I'm going to highlight just those 2 years and go to the right hand corner so that this black cross appears. Then I'm going to click and drag, and you see how it's counting up for me. I'm at 2022, 2023. I want to go all the way to 2100. Oops, too far. Okay, there we go. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm going to use my linear model to make a population prediction. And if you don't like how it's crossing over there, you can go up to the top here and click and make it wider. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. There we go. Okay, so now here's the fun part. We have this linear model here and this equation. We're going to use that equation to predict the population. So in the equation we have a y and we have an x. The x stands for years and the y stands for the number of people. So when I type this equation in, instead of typing x, I'm going to use the year in place of x. Now, one caveat to this is we see that fun little E there again. If you see that E, not all of you might, but if you do, you're going to need to double click on the equation box there. Then go to scientific and change the number of decimal places to 15. You see how my numbers expanded basically? Well, now we have 15 decimal places after the first number there. So I'm going to make my chart a little bigger so we can see this here. And I'm going to make my equation a little bigger. All right, there we go. So now, underneath my first year, I'm going to hit equals because I don't want to type the y. That's what I'm trying to predict. So don't type the y, just start right away with equals. Now I get to type this fun long number in right there. It says 2 point blah 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 blah, and then there's the E plus 07. So the capital E plus 07 means I have to move that decimal place over 7 spots. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, just had to double check there. And now I'm going to type the rest of the numbers then. So I'm putting my decimal spot after the 9 because that was 7 to the right. And then I'm going to type the rest of the numbers. Okay, now I don't have to do anything with the capital E plus 07. That's my new number. I can ignore that, and now I'm to the X there. So it was that number times X. So to do times, you have to select the asterisk, which is hitting Shift and 8. And now, like I said, instead of X, we're going to put in the year. So you want to go to your first year box and click that year. So you see how now it has that year selected? Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this equation here, and now I have minus, and then we see this big number again with the capital E plus 10. So capital E plus 10 means I move this decimal place here to the right 10. Okay, so I'm going to, first I need to hit the minus sign that's in the equation, and then I'm going to move the decimal place to the right 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I believe the decimal place is going to go after this one, but I'm going to just double check here. Okay, it's just counting on my screen there. All right, now I'm going to type the rest of the numbers. So 25660. Okay, whew. I know it's a lot of numbers, but now we're done. That was my whole equation. I can press enter. So I'm just going to give you a quick look here. This is predicting that the population in 2014 is going to be 5 billion. Yes, that is lower than what the population is even now, but this is a prediction, and you can see that here's our trend line, and you can see how it diverges from the actual, which is the blue, and this is the predicted. So you can see in about 1950, which is, or after, shortly after 1950, kind of when the baby boom happened, our linear model diverges from what actually happened. So you just have to keep in mind that these are just predictions. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag that over to the end of the years there. And we get these funky number signs popping up there. So I'm going to go up to the top here and click number, and then it fixes it for me. Okay, we're done with this sheet now. Next thing we want to do is just select these 3 rows and copy them. And go to the global correlation sheet. So this is where you can